Jerome's different lives have taken him to the four corners of the globe. Scuba diving instructor, sailor, maître d' on an ocean liner, and now hot air balloonist. He has flown in Egypt, Kenya, Tanzania, Libya, South Africa, Florida, and Burma. And last but not least, he has landed with his balloon here in Sri Lanka to fulfill his passion and at the same time earn his living by sharing it with others.
This is one of the most beautiful spots of Sri Lanka. It's an island in the middle of Lake Kandalama. We're lucky. We often fly over it in the morning. It's a bird sanctuary. There are little islands scattered all around, and this one here is the main island with its unspoiled nature. This is Sri Lanka, the real Sri Lanka, with the mountains all around, the tea plantations, the lakes, the birds, the thick, lush vegetation. We're really in Sri Lanka, and Kandalama is the very heart of Sri Lanka. You can't get any freer than a hot air balloon. The thing about a balloon is that you can't steer it. You just go with the wind, you follow its whims. You're a passenger of the wind, its guest. You adapt according to what the wind decides. You let yourself be carried. So it's true freedom, but freedom where the wind decides.
To glide along without a sound, to let yourself be carried by the slightest breeze. Jerome has found the perfect machine to enjoy the most stunning landscapes.
It's the most basic form of transportation. Apart from the propane, which is a petroleum derivative, all the rest is reed and cloth. It's really very simple. Nothing more than that bubble of hot air above, keeping us aloft. You see that little brown patch down there? It's the kind of place where we can usually land. We won't this time because of the wind. It's a question of luck depending on what's down there. Now, the idea is to go down as low as possible and skim the treetops.
Hello! T'as les gamins qui courent vers nous, là. Bye bye!
Hang on, guys.
Up! Hello! Ende?
From which country?
Hello, France.
France?
Yes, France.
Each landing is an intense moment and a celebration. The surprise before this unexpected guest quickly gives way to a feeling of wonder.
The guy's gonna pull. There's like two or three, minimum 3 guys there. Pull, and he's gonna deflate like this. And some guys, they're gonna go on here so it doesn't go into the water, okay?
Jerome can always count on help from the villagers. Here in Sri Lanka, the whole community turns out spontaneously to lend a hand. When he first came to this country, Jerome had to lay the groundwork. The first thing he did was to spot the best landscapes for flying and the best spots to take off. He has the free use of cricket pitches and schoolyards.
I really love everything about Sri Lanka. I mean, it's not just the people. It's the country in general, the hospitality, everything. It's great weather every day. From November to April, you can fly practically every morning. There's good conditions almost every day. It's ideal for ballooning. It's just awesome.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Jerome lives his life according to the rhythm of the sun, for he has to get his balloon aloft before it gets too hot. The difference in temperature between the air outside and inside the balloon is what produces this alchemy. At 5 in the morning, it's already 25 degrees Celsius. In 2 hours, it won't be possible to fly. For Jerome, hot air balloons are like poetry, useless, yet at the same time essential, to elevate one's soul and to contemplate the world.
Aujourd'hui, on vit dans un monde où tout est codifié.
Today, we live in a world where everything is codified. There's not really any more space for freedom. Whereas with Sri Lanka, not that it's a place where you can do anything you want, but there's much more space because it's virgin territory. What I'm really after is the nature, contact with the nature, contact with the people. And the balloon will give me that. It's really total freedom. Every morning I do a flight, and after that the day just whizzes by. It's fantastic.
Grandiose, quoi.
Damadasi was only 10 years old when he decided to dedicate his life to Buddha by becoming a monk. Here at the temple of Aluvihara, he is seeking to attain nirvana, the ultimate stage of enlightenment. Buddha said, "He who is master of himself is greater than he who is master of the world." By following the teachings and philosophy of Buddha, Dhammadasi has embarked on a spiritual quest that leads to enlightenment, to a comprehension of our reality.
Mind the thorns. Climb up a little higher. Is it a good frond? It's the fresh frond, right?
Here at Aluvihara, the Buddhist monks are carrying on a tradition that's over 2,000 years old. It all starts in the heart of the jungle. The frond they've cut is sacred. Dhammadasi carries it to his temple, one of the oldest of Sri Lanka. It dates back to the period when Buddhism first arrived in the country in the 3rd century BC.
We're going to make a traditional prayer book. It's called a Puskala Putte. We start by preparing the palm fronds that'll make up the pages of the book. It's an ancient tradition. It's remained unchanged ever since the early manuscripts. Writing is the monk's work, and it's all done with what the forest here around the temple can give us. It all comes from right here.
To produce his book, Dhammadasi repeats the gestures carried out by so many monks before him. They would inscribe on these leaves the teaching of Buddha, as well as all the learning of the time. Certain of these works are the only existing records of the region's history. Others give a comprehensive view of the knowledge of a bygone age in medicine and astrology.
I've been doing this ever since I was a small child. I stopped for a few years, but I learned it all here. I really like this work. I also know how to write Pali very well. It's an ancient Buddhist language used by the monks. The man who taught me how to hold the leaf in the stylus was a great monk, but he didn't teach me the art of writing. So I figured that by studying the sacred scriptures, I could learn on my own. And that's exactly what I did.
The temple of Nalanda Gedige has remained outside of time, far from the bustling modern world. The building is deeply suffused with spirituality. Dhammadasi likes to be off on his own when he's transcribing the sacred words of Buddha. This is the path he has chosen. It's his contribution to humanity.
The words and philosophy of Buddha were not written down right away. In the beginning, everything was transmitted orally, by word of mouth. Then they began to write on these leaves. From that moment on, the teachings were no longer deformed, because they were teaching what was written. I'm doing exactly the same work as the scribes of long ago, and they dedicated their lives to this task. I inherited this tradition, and it gives me great satisfaction.
Purisa Dhamma Sarati Sattha Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati.
As in all religions, the faithful make pilgrimages to the holy sites, voyages to the heart of their spirituality. The railroad that once transported Ceylon's tea down to the coast and that contributed to its reputation still rattles along, carrying the country's inhabitants. Every Buddhist in Sri Lanka hopes to make the pilgrimage to the summit of Sri Pada, the sacred mountain in the center of the country, at least once in their life. It thrusts up into the sky, a perfect cone, a bridge between humanity and the divine. Sri Pada. Legend has it that Alexander the Great, Marco Polo, and other famous voyagers came here to see the sunrise. The kings of Sri Lanka all made the journey here to bow to its eternal grandeur. Sri Pada is one of the rare places on earth that is venerated by Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, and Christians alike. The belief is that Buddha himself left his footprint here. The Hindus, on the other hand, believe that Shiva danced on the mountaintop. As for the Muslims, they call this mountain Adam's Peak. Lastly, for Christians, it was St. Thomas who left his mark here.
Here we're in the sanctuary of the god Saman, the Sita Gangula. It's an icy mountain stream. We purify ourselves, and then we will do our prayers.
The pilgrims wear white. Dhammadasi ties a coin wrapped in a piece of saffron-colored cloth around their wrist. They will deposit it as an offering when they get to the top of the mountain. Dhammadasi will accompany this pilgrim couple to the top. They've chosen a night of the full moon, a poya. In Sri Lanka, this is a time dedicated to spirituality. They set out early while it's still dark in order to get to the top for the sunrise. "4,800 steps to the summit. A prolonged effort, which allows one to exhaust the body in order to free the mind and attain enlightenment."
The final goal of all Buddhists is to reach nirvana, the ultimate state of being. With that goal in mind, we pay great attention to what we say. We learn how to dominate the violence that exists within each of us, in our gestures, in our thoughts. Buddhism teaches self-mastery. This is the wish of all Buddhists, and this is the path that will lead us to nirvana.
The tradition is that each pilgrim rings the bell upon arriving at the summit, once for every time they have visited this holy site. At an altitude of more than 2,200 meters, the sound fills the space and fires the faith of believers of all confessions. The manuscript that Dhammadasi is holding dates back more than 500 years.
I've already read this sacred book down below, but this is the first time I'm reading it here on the mountain, and it's a great honor for me. It's an incredible experience. It's thanks to my good karma that I've been blessed with this good fortune. It's the result of my past lives. My entire life is based on the principles of Buddhism. I have no other ambition. I'm content with what I have. I've had the good fortune and strength to be able to teach, to spread the word of Buddha to many of the faithful. That's the goal I've set for myself. I plan to continue studying and deepening my knowledge of this philosophy, and I want to follow this path as far as possible.